And welcome back. This is our second episode of All the King's Men, and I'm so excited. I'm excited about really talking to the men, really being empowered by the men and being uplifted by the men. And I also am excited about our next guest, Mr. Raymond. And we've had some dialogue previously before the recording, and he has an awesome, awesome, awesome story to tell. He has some awesome, awesome, awesome gifts and words of encouragement to pour into us. And I would really just like to get going with him and just let him explain and introduce himself and explain about his business and his business approach. But without further ado, I'm going to bring up Mr. Raymond. Hello.
Hello, Milson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today and being on the platform. And like I said, I'm excited to really get into knowing who you are and about your brand, about your business, and how everything just kind of got started. Because this is a particular area that a lot of times you don't hear anyone speaking about. It's always about how to make money, how to grow this, how to grow that. But this is something that's from the heart. So if you don't mind, just kind of starting there, sharing who Raymond is and where what it is that you do.
First of all, who I am as a misunderstood man. Because I am the man of misunderstandings here, and I have returned for one mission, and that is to get people to achieve oneness again in their lives.
Yes.
So regardless you can also call me the modern day mystic. And my whole life I've been on a quest and a journey to find the actual spiritual truth in life.
Yes.
And I remember when my grandfather died on Christmas 1993, and then my parents would go through a divorce 6 months later. And being an only child, having been bounced around from age 5 to 17, led to an actual mental break when I was 17. But during that time, my desire of helping others came out. So I'm here in the wilderness, looking out. My dad's playing music with the band out this wilderness place, and I'm just like, I gave myself to God that night because I wasn't doing well. I was not doing well mentally, psychologically. I had a girl that asked for junior prom, and downhill Raymond it went.
Oh.
And that launched my first kind of awakening mental break, which I believe that you can have both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think I think basically it's you are having both, because when your mind is at too active, when it's too active and your heart's pounding, you have to control that somehow, because you can't live like that forever.
No, you cannot.
So, but I saw after that, after I went to God, I saw the meteor shower of a lifetime. And I looked in the sky and everything was just there. It was the most magnificent night sky I've ever seen. But I was 17. I was too young for that type of cosmos type experience by myself. And I actually had a thought in my journey that I was God. And I realized, what's going on here? So they stick me in the mental hospital for 1 week. And all I did there was play jokes on the staff. I was humorous. I was a Patch Adams. I told them I was there to help them.
I like that movie.
I was like the modern day. I was the Patch Adams for Fremont Hospital. I accepted my reality. I accepted what it was. It wasn't fun for my family, and they didn't know what I had. So finally, a couple months later, getting out of it and taking the medication, they finally found a good medication. They didn't know what I had at first because they couldn't detect anything wrong. I wasn't doing any drugs. I wasn't on acid. I wasn't on any of those things. They couldn't figure out what exactly my symptoms were. I've had depression in my life. I've had manic episodes in my life. I've had all these different things in my life. But it was just, normal human emotions at times. And I also grew up with a lot of alcoholic abuse. So I think that may have contributed to my disdain use of alcohol and drugs. And so I always never did any of that stuff. And I've only been drunk plastered twice in my life, and I'll never do it again because I don't know how it makes me feel.
Right. Yeah. Was you
Yeah.
drunk
So I
once?
basically, so I graduated from high school miraculously, went to junior college, and became one of the top tutors on campus within a year and a half. People were coming to me for help. I was making money in the tutoring sessions, but also making money outside of it. And my family supported me to go to college. Now, when I went to college, I was like, well, I want to be a math science teacher. That's kind of what was my goal at that time. And so I got the degree in environmental studies and a certificate in sustainable resource management with a physical environment option. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to do now? Graduate, I want to go in the workforce. But my experience was in education, so I pursued education. And I got a job as an avid tutor, helped the students. The C sets were not the type of science I studied because I studied a lot of environmental planning, geography. I'm having to have to study for a test that has physics and biology, which I wasn't educated in, so I did not pass the C set, and it was very disappointing. I'm
Mm,
just wondering what is going to happen now. Well, about right around that time, I met my wife, and that kind of changed everything for me because she's such an amazing person. She's a go-getter. She's even more aggressive than I am as an entrepreneur and as a salesperson as she is, and that inspired me to get help because when my mom moved to Oregon for reasons that I can't explain on this show, but I guess she wasn't happy in California. She was the one that understood me the most with my condition, and so I became very lost. And so I got myself into therapy at JFK Counseling, which is no longer exists in Oakland for people, which I think is so unfortunate because it was a very affordable service. And I went to Heart and Balance, and I went into therapy, and it did help me get all these aggressions and all these frustrations out. But after a while with therapy, I hit a wall. You're going to hit a wall when you're in therapy because it's only going to grow you so much. So I joined Toastmasters to become a better speaker and a better communicator in my area, and that gave me refuge during COVID-19. So the refuge and the community that I had when my church was all on Zoom, I was like, I'm not buying this church thing on Zoom. I
what I
got
was
to be
supposed to. Yeah. COVID was a strange. It was a strange time.
right. So I joined Toastmasters, became a better speaker, better communicator. My communication chakra is 100%, so that's good. So learning to communicate was something I wanted to do, but I even got a client through Toastmasters. So that was a big positive. And it just gave me the courage to actually, when there's something you want to do, you just do it
Yeah.
and let people come. And first, it was real life marriage empowerment, but I thought that was too restricting. So I added the spiritual element to it. So I'm thinking my business is starting to come along. I helped some guy with his marriage right around the COVID-19. He called me up out of the blue, and that's when I decided I got to develop the program for couples
Yeah.
because it wasn't just him, but and what happened was is my dad started getting his health started declining more. So I took a break from business and helped him out, and then my job came back. And I'm thinking, okay, well, at least it's coming back. So I worked April through June, took the summer off, and then my wife goes, "Well, I want to start a business. I want to contribute. I want to actually start doing things." So she designed her Love and clothing boutique brand called Love and Arena, and that carried us through the summer. So here I am networking, getting myself more into these speaking groups, and I spoke at 3 summits, didn't get a client. Why? Because it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
The first summit I went to, my mom's godmother, my grandmother's aunt went into hospice and died. So we had to drive all the way up there. So I wasn't meant to have any clients at that time.
Right.
Although I had one, he was a sole mission client. I had one, but I told him, hey, I want to take a break now. I have to take care of a family matter. But we still talked. We didn't coach him, but we still talked. Came back down. Favorite team won the NBA Finals. My grandma goes, I don't know how I'm ever going to repay you for this. And so I came back. I spoke at two more summits the following year. My mother almost dies. And now, to keep in mind, my mom doesn't have her boyfriend at this point. He left. So now I'm having to deal with three individuals who are now have serious health issues, and I'm an only child, and I can only actually be at one place.
Right.
So when my mom almost died last April, I realized, okay, what am I going to do now? Well, I can't do anything. I have to oversee my grandmother's care. My dad has challenges. He gets blood pressure moments. And then my mom is now starting to join the club. And it just brought me to a level state where I was just really stressed out. I couldn't work. I stopped substitute teaching. It was finally in May that a lot of things happened. My mom did recover. She came down, visited us. From my business partner came up here. And I was almost like an overjoy. My family, my wife graduated from college. We no longer had to worry about that. And we got through all of this. We got through all of this, and my wife and I are just building this strong relationship, this strong marriage that nothing can actually overtake us. I'd say the first 5 years in our marriage were the most challenging financially, and also challenging emotionally, and also challenging romantically as well. We didn't have much money. We didn't really go out that much.
But you know that first part of marriage, the first few years is tough.
Oh, it is.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Like people say it's a 7 year hump. I'd say it's more like the 5 year hump. I think the first 5 years are the most challenging, but
So
we never really had too many arguments. We just accepted our life for what it was. She came from a very family dynamic background. I had old school family values because I was raised a lot with my grandmothers growing up. So we had a lot of things in common. I throw up my left hand, I write with my right. She writes with her left and throws with her right. So I knew at first take when I met her that she was the one.
that was it.
That's all I needed. So here I am as a coach thinking, well, what am I gonna teach? Because I have a lot of things I could teach. I
Yeah.
could teach when you're in 8 clubs in the cardiology sense, you make your money through knowledge. And I'm like, well, first it was love and spirituality, but those two kind of are completely different aspects of coaching. You can be a relationship coach or a spiritual coach. Now you can combine the two and be a spiritual relationship coach, which I was doing, but I realized when I marketed divine consciousness, that's not something you should actually charge for, because it's something that as a person has to actually accomplish in his life, and some people could take a lifetime of lifetimes to accomplish it, but I have achieved that. So I realized it was spiritual happiness that we're all searching for. So I changed my branding just a bit to spiritual happiness, because that's what we're all searching for. And when I lost 25 pounds, and all that was just added weight from stress and overwhelm. So when I healed stress and overwhelm, which we all have the ability to do through energy healing, all of it went down the toilet. It was my wife goes, "You're looking really good, but this is concerning. You're not exercising that much, so you need to make an appointment to the doctor." So I did, and the doctor goes, "You're fine. You've lost the weight." And so that happened back in November and December. So the program's been built, and then I'm like, "Well, what am I going to do now?" So I started putting myself out there more, and I actually finally stood up myself in a huge Kaiser organization. I stood up to myself. I said, no way, I'm not going to be treated like this. I was raised to stick up for yourself. So that's when I did the magic that I did, and I finally got the right team of psychiatrists around me. I have a case manager real soon, and I do have a wonderful therapist. But you see, with coaching, what coaching provides is therapy helps you from the past to the present.
Mhm.
But what do you do from the present to the future? And that's where personal development and coaching comes in. So you're going to hit a wall if you're in therapy.
But
So
you
the
still need
coaching,
that other part.
and you need that other part. You got to have someone out there who understands what you're trying to do. And me being a male, and my healing comes through my words and my actions. That's kind of where I've learned to manifest my own miracles, is with my words and actions. And I've been doing them in public since October. Because someone had to step up. We're living in dark times. We're
We are
living in all these challenges. Every time I go out for a walk, every time I go out, we're seeing a lot of cop action. We're seeing a lot of accidents on the freeway. We're seeing a lot of, you know, we're just in very challenging times. As my wife is Hindu, she calls this the time of Kali, which the
okay.
next 1,000 years is going to be a time of darkness on this earth. But there's a level of consciousness that's being elevated within people. Okay, this is not okay. I have to do the right thing. And that's basically what the second coming of Christ is. It's not Jesus coming back with wings, and it's a level of consciousness within people. And some people have gone into the 12D like myself. Some people only get to the 5D. But if we can get to the earth to the 5D, then we're making progress here.
Right. So you will say that you and your wife, y'all kind of uh, do the business as far as the coaching and spirituality together.
She's more the brand manager. She helps
Okay.
me with the branding, the website stuff. She doesn't coach. She has her own business endeavors. She has a clothing boutique that
Okay.
is actually quite successful. She became successful. She just knows what women like. It's called Love and Rena Clothing Boutique,
Okay.
and she's also starting something else real soon. It hasn't been established yet, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, we won't. We'll just. I
Just
don't
zip
want. I
it
don't want.
right
I
now.
don't want you. I don't want the idea to go south because you know about those things.
Yeah. Before you know it, excuse me. Then somebody else will be. We're not talking because people will do that. You have an idea and they think it ain't ready yet. Then you see it. Someone else.
Well, to tell you the truth, you know, and even politically, people are concerned for the country of America, and so I think we're having a lot of challenges in this
Yeah.
world. But yeah, my wife is just such an amazing woman. She's a go-getter. She's great at sales. She understands business. She comes from a very entrepreneur-like family, and so I helped her with her business and get that off the ground. So we are business partners, and I do get paid a little bit for these shows. So that's cool that she
Yeah.
pays me a little bit. So yeah, and so yeah, I'm happy because I'm doing what I love, and I love sharing my message of love and spiritual happiness towards people. And I'm just saying that it doesn't matter where you are, where you're from. Like you're welcome to get help by me. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist. I've studied all of those things in my life. I even
Yeah.
went to seminary for a semester to understand my religion a lot more. And I went through a transformation. Then I realized, wow, so Christianity is not the religion that I thought it was growing up, and that was very it was very I didn't really read any books for a while. I was just more like concentrating on work and my marriage. And right around time COVID hit, I was like, I'm getting more into spiritual development. I have more time to read. I read Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I read astrology. I started reading all these books. I'm like, oh yeah, I found my niche
Yeah.
because that's what I've and I think it's when we have challenges emotionally, mentally, spirituality comes in a place of comfort
Yeah. It does.
and love and caring and the fact that you got to develop a support system around you. And me being an only child, I consider my friends like my family,
Yeah.
and I've done the best that I could to make sure I did not follow in my dad's footsteps and not reach out to family
Yeah.
because I know eventually I'm gonna be it's gonna be my wife and I here real soon.
Yeah, and and by you being the only child, but the thing is, like what you were saying about spirituality, when you're working with individuals, spirituality means something different to a lot of people.
Yes.
But the whole essence of what we do is coaches. What we do, like you said, when they hit that wall, a lot of people don't realize is that when that from your present to your future, that's when that coach is so important. Whether it's personal, whether it's spiritual, whether it's entrepreneur in business, you want to be able to now get to that future point. So now you start to you know work on those things to start to work on transforming from where you are now into what you want to do in the future. So I always say, don't ever underestimate, the need and the need for help, whether it be the therapy, whether it be the counseling, and then eventually the coaching. It all complements each other.
We all complement each other, and coaching is a form of counseling. It's just we don't use why.
Yeah.
'Cause, well, why is a stupid question half the time? I don't know why I do certain things.
So now it's like, okay, the how, you know,
How,
you,
what, do. These are
yeah,
action-based terms. So it's
yeah,
how, what, do, can you. So some of these action-based terms. So it allows you to think about. I asked someone in a group one time who had a message. He said, "Oh, I'm listening to this country song about I have to let go of." I says, "Well, what do you have to let go of?" She goes, "That's a good question. Thank you for asking me."
so you're gonna let go. You don't even know, what you're letting go of.
No. And so
And how,
letting go, I think that's I think for the most I think most people in general have a hard time of letting go with the things that they cannot control.
yeah,
I think Americans have a control problem.
yeah. I believe so. I really
And
do.
I think and so it's like, well, I want this to be done now. I want to be in control. But what I've learned as a business owner, there's so many things that happen within my family dynamic, that happen within my life that are out of my control. So it's
Yeah,
taken me a long time just to get here because I've had to actually make sure I don't procrastinate on this or procrastinate on that.
yeah.
And it has not been easy. And building
A brand.
a brand and having to
It's so
build
much
a Facebook
fun.
group, it takes time. And this is a long term thing.
Yeah, it could be very exciting, and it's a lot of fun when you're doing that, but it does take time. And two, because it takes time, that doesn't mean life is not happening at the same
Right.
time. So now you have to balance all of that. You have to do all of that balancing. So yeah, that's that's part of the process, I guess.
It is. And now I'm looking at outside, there's an Amazon Prime truck, and I hope he doesn't come to my door because I want to finish this podcast.
Oh, you fine. Like I was saying, coming and decide they want to cut the grass. I'm like, but we good now. So, but
Absolutely.
at the wrong times. But what I want to ask you now is, so what kind of coaching program? Like I know it's the Ray of Life Me.
Me. Yeah. Well, I designed a program where the first 2 months we're going to discuss what happiness means. Now, it means something different, but overall, I gather a lot of my information from the Art of Happiness from reading the book from Dalai Lama. So I gathered some of the information from there. But what actually is happiness to the individual? Some people might say, well, I have to make 200 grand a year, go on traveling trips, and buy a bunch of stuff to make me happy. But all of that, when we get home, I truly don't believe materialism leads to happiness. It might give you temporary satisfaction, which I believe, which is the Buddha, what the Buddha taught. So if you're Buddhist, materialistic possessions only give you temporary satisfaction. They sit on the shelf. You spent that money. It's
Yeah,
almost also like that in the Scripture, New Testament, Jesus and the rich man. You know, the rich man goes, "What do I have to do to enter the kingdom of God?" And Jesus goes, "Give all your material possessions away, and your reward will be better." So that kind of I can see Jesus kind of, but I don't know if that actually ever happened. But it's all metaphorical to not be materialistic. And
yeah,
every time I read the Bhagavad Gita, my wife's Bible, it's like, do not be materialistic. But yet the culture is materialistic. So you have a culture problem and a spiritual problem at the same time with people. Because here in America, we have such a problem with stuff. We produce way too much stuff.
yeah.
And that's
So
part of
many choices.
yeah, we put use way too much stuff. So how much stuff do you need? These things are handy when we need them, like a chair or a bed or a car. Those are things you do need, but half the time we don't need anything that we buy. But I think, and that's where health comes into play and the wealth as part of my program. I have happiness, health, wealth, law of attraction. So the happiness part will go first. Then we get into health, and it takes about 8 weeks to form a new health habit.
Yeah,
That's why I have 8 weeks of health coaching. So we get into the health, and I truly believe if you eat right, you exercise, you do that, you can overcome anything. And oftentimes in entrepreneurship, we might forget the little things. We might forget the actual routine based thing. You have to go for your morning walk or your morning routine. It's got to be structured.
yeah,
What you're doing. and things are going to come up. People are going to want you. They want, what is your business over here? You're going to get new people that come your way all the time. So we got to be health. We have to be health in our body, mind, and
Right.
soul.
We got to be good. If and that's another thing too with the entrepreneurs. A lot of times you see a lot of coaching programs where they focus on starting your business. Where they focus on how to get sales. They focus on how to maximize your programs and reach your target audience. All of those different things and so much more. And so which is so important. But you got to understand that if we're not as entrepreneurs taking care of ourselves, our minds, our bodies, you know, we're going to be burnt out. So when the people come to us, we're not going to be able to really deliver. So it's a whole circle, just not about
Yes.
entrepreneurship, but it's
Well,
about the whole circle of that
well,
individual.
yeah, and then of course the wealth management I do for 4 weeks. What are you actually spending your money on that you don't need to spend it? Because in entrepreneurship, every month is different revenue. You're not going to make the same amount of revenue. It's kind of like what I reminds me of substitute teaching. One month I had took home 1,500. The next month I took home 3,000, and it was hard. It was difficult, and I would lose money in the summer because I get laid off.
Yeah,
So it was difficult, but I luckily I stayed home when I could, and it didn't matter. And I started a retirement account, and a lot of good things came from substitute teaching. But it kind of prepared me for entrepreneurship because every month is different. You might make 300 grand one year, and then you go like, I'm going to take a break. I don't want to make anything this year, and that's what entrepreneurship provides is the flexibility and the freedom to make money on your own terms.
yeah,
But it's not easy because you have to make the right relationships. You have to go out and do the things. So health and money management. And then I get into the law of attraction towards the very end. I even have a time. If you are working 9 to 5, I talk about, well, guess your boss's or your staff members' astrological signs. So I just want to make it fun because towards the end of the program, it is going to be fun. You're going to be happier within your family dynamic. You're going to have a lot more tools at your disposal. So
yeah,
I would say if the goal oriented person invests with me, I'd say within about maybe half the program, they're going to be a lot happier
yeah,
because half the program is happiness and health. So they're going to be feeling a lot healthier within their areas. And then we get into money management and budgeting and what they don't need. I always say there's your negotiables and non-negotiables. I think one of my greatest achievements as a coach is helping my business partner give her confidence to pursue her energy healing business. She's the one that provides energy healing for my clients. So we're in together, and the healing I have is through words, actions, but I also have the ability to actually come in and I ask God to heal you. And if God heals you, but I have to have your permission.
yeah,
So I can't do anything without permission. So because I have the code, we all have this code, and it's like what John Lennon said. I'm not a big fan of his actual personal life per se because he's had a lot of challenges and he didn't have a mom growing up. But I like what he had to say is that God is too big for the concept of religion. The goal is to become a Buddha, not Buddhist. The goal is to become a Christ and not Christian. So how do you actually become like these people that were lived in this world? So I've been studying how to become like the Buddha, like the Jesus. And so right now I'm just Ray. I'm not any of those people. I'm not telling them any of those people. But how do you become like them in our lives? That
yeah,
way you can manifest the life that you want. And that's something I'm just starting to do.
yeah. So at the end of the program, after you done with the wealth, and then you go into
I
uh,
go to a little bit of the law of attraction,
yeah, I want to
which
say the spirituality, the law of it. Yeah, right, which is part of that spirituality, law of attraction.
it's
So that's
part
kind
of
of how you
it's
get.
part of that,
Yeah,
and I also teach the law of oneness in happiness. So there's spirituality all within the program. There's oneness, there's happiness, there's law of attraction, and sometimes in the conversations that you have with people, their own beliefs come out, and you have to help them embrace that more into their life. I'm not here to break down anyone's beliefs. I'm here to be as an addition to what they already believe in. Like the man that I helped was raised Catholic, but he kind of fallen out of it. And I said that's going to be a very important belief for you to continue on in your life.
And that's the thing when you're coaching, and that's that part of that relationship. You know, like you said, you're not here to stray anyone or to persuade anyone, but let's enhance what you believe. Let's enhance what you and your beliefs and your ethics and those things. You so that you become aware of those things. And that's that person's, like you say, that's that person's makeup. That's that person's life. Then once you have the permission, to be able to, work with that individual. So we're not taking anything away from anybody. We're just
No,
working what you already have to enhance that.
absolutely. And and spiritual leadership also is a public thing. I'm going to be doing things in public, so it's not just where I run my business online. There's going to be offline things. So Sunday, I took a couple of Toastmasters. We went to the park, and we just spoke. We just spoke what was on our hearts. No one really came to visit, but we just did it. And we finally realized, okay, next time we got to do this and do that. So it was a practice rehearsal, but we just did it. And we added a whole other element to the marina. People kind of like, what is going on over there? What are they doing? But as far as just the sound and the magnificence of the place and being there with this great fresh air, it was a great experience. Even my grandmother goes, you hosted this your whole self. You got people together, and
And they
I took
came.
it as a positive, as just getting my message out there. Now I got 2 videos to put on YouTube, and
Yeah.
so I mean, it's I'm not 90% of the time what I do will not be for the money, but there's going to be times where you want coaching, and it is an investment. But I like to call my prices very fair.
But and that's another thing, to transformation. That's part of everything. Don't be afraid to pay for your, transformation. Invest in yourself. You
Right,
know,
it's an investment in yourself, and
yourself.
I have 2 options. I give you choices. If you just want coaching only, and that's a set price. But if you want the meditations and the energy healing, that's a different price because I actually have to pay people, and I have people on my team that I have to go through, and
Right.
there's other things I've added. Do you want to go through a workshop learning the different behaviors of yourself, which comes from a different business partner? So yeah, I mean, there's different prices for each one, and not everybody's going to be ready for energy healing, and not everybody should go into energy healing because some people have to stay away from those things. That helped me heal my emotions, but life without emotions is difficult
Yeah.
because not that I still don't have them.
Right. It's just
You're gonna have
what kind of
emotions. You're gonna
emotions
have
do you
emotions,
not
but
have?
a lot of what I healed was my past emotions. So I'm not. I don't have a depression problem anymore, and I don't really have an indecisiveness problem anymore, and I don't have a. I'm definitely pretty confident in myself, and I would say I've reached to a level of content in my life to where whatever happens happens, and you develop one relationship at a time, and the coaching industry has given me a purpose this whole time. It's what's allowed me to actually have faith that something is going to come out of it. And there's so many other coaches out there that are trying to get in, and it is the second fastest growing industry in the world.
It is, and that's the thing, coaches. I'm telling you, if you're listening, is this is a very marketable area to be in, and it's true, and and whatever is put inside of you to share, you know, do that. Never underestimate what it is that you have to bring to the table, what has been poured into you to pour out into others, and that is very important to understand. Is that this is a quick growing place, because a lot of people, they're looking for that transformation, they're looking for the results, they're looking for the victories, and then some people just don't know how to get there. That's the truth of the matter. Some people just don't know how to get to the victories.
No, and there's a lot of coaches that are going into health coaching still. Hey, I haven't gotten any clients yet. Well, first of all, what I've learned to be successful as a coach, you have to meet people where they're at. If you have a marketing message oftentimes people don't know what you're selling because what exactly are you selling? We're not selling a product. We're not selling a service. We're developing relationships with people to let them know, hey, I'm here for you. And if you do need help, so it's all about relationship building within the community and for online, if you do it online, you got to be able to have develop relationships with people and trusting relationships.
Yeah.
So I've developed a relationship with some local politicians. I developed a relationship with certain other people in life and small businesses around here. So that's what you got to do. That's the work. It's the grind work, and you got to if you're
Yeah.
going to build
You got to
something
get
from
there.
ground up.
You got to grind the relationship.
I came into the small business owner shop and I gave someone an angel number for a tip, and I might be the only one that's actually thinking of doing that.
Yeah.
So someone
That's,
goes,
that's different.
it's different. It's like what the heck? You gave me 611 for a tip, or you gave me 444 for a tip. But that's what spiritual leadership brings in the community. You develop relationships with these people, and then they take care of you.
Yeah.
So as the man of misunderstandings, which I will tell you is whenever I'm in public now, there's always some sort of mix up in communication sometimes, and I get something in return for the positive.
Yeah.
We all have the ability to manifest our own lives and manifest our own miracles. It's just, do you want to turn that code on? And when you're able, and so I give people the option. I give people the option. Do they want to enter into the kingdom of God as their last gift, which I give them a key to, or do they want to manifest their own miracles? So they have that choice at the very end of the program. Do you want to actually understand how powerful your words are being? This came with a learning curve with me. This came with a learning curve. I lost my job because of it. Um, but I wasn't happy with that anyways. It was getting to a point where all the deaths and shooting deaths and all the things happening at the school district was not helping with my
Right.
mental health. So
And one thing that you said real quick before I forget it, you said about speaking your words and everything, the manifestation. And I said, that goes to, the Christian mindset, because I'm a Christian. So that Christian mindset part of it is talking about the power in your words. You know, just whatever, how powerful when you speak things into existence. And
yes,
also thinking,
yes.
so is so is a man thinketh, so is he. Our thoughts, our words, our approach, how we look at things,
I actually have that book as a man thinketh, and it's my dad couldn't read it. It's like, oh, but I went skimmed right through it. Our words are matter, and just in relate, especially when it comes to family dynamic relationships, we're so tired. We put 12 hours in our business, but then we forgot the important element of being there for our family. And thing is is your business getting to a point where it's leading you to a divorce
right,
because you can't because you got addicted to your business. You can become addicted to your business. You could become, oh, I want to be in there, I want to run it, it's my own thing, I'm getting all these sales. But then you actually look behind, you're like, wow, my wife and my kids,
right,
they miss me. They want me to be present. So it's like, well, why can't you work your business for 6 hours or 8 hours? You don't have to work for 12 hours or
right,
14 hours. And that's what I worry about with the new entrepreneur generation for millennials. Have we actually gone through enough healing in our lives to balance entrepreneurship and family? And that's why I'd say if I were to help someone and their family dynamic, it's between age 30 to 50 because we get in the point where we bring in childcare, pets,
yeah,
our old parents are getting older. We're
yeah,
really stressful.
all the above,
Pa-
especially,
All, all,
yeah, all of that,
Parents are getting older. They're like, ooh, it's just like we're stressed out because we half of us can't afford children in this world, so we have pets instead.
all
And
pets these
yeah,
days,
pets are becoming the new children, and
yeah,
plants are becoming the new pets for a lot of people.
yeah,
Wherever I live, it costs you upwards. Well, a medium house here and where I live is 900,000 to $1 million,
mm, mm,
and rent is out of control. I'd say most people rent. They have an engineering job or they have something and they rent. So professional people are now having to rent apartments, whereas before professionals would have a house.
right,
Now professionals are actually having to rent a studio, or an apartment. And
You
apartment is
know,
not
and that's
easy
probably
living.
more cost effective for them is to be able to rent. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because, but the thing is that now because of them being able to rent, the that's a whole nother business opportunity now for those who do have property as landlords. Because now you magnify,
landlords are
you know,
raking it in.
yeah,
Landlords are
oh
raking it
yeah,
in. Landlords are raking in and go, okay, you want to rent my house? I'll rent my house. I have 3 homes. So even buying a house in this area, you can't, you're not going to compete because you have foreign investors that already have millions of dollars from India, from China. It's not from Mexico, so don't listen to what they talk about. Those people are looking for opportunity. But you want to know who's really taking their jobs? It's foreign investors.
yeah,
And that's where in politics they kind of skinny. Oh, they want to make the little guy and they want to make the little guy responsible for why you don't have a job. No, it's actually people coming from the countries that are more educated than us. They're landing AI jobs into these tech
yeah.
jobs.
And then some of the jobs that they do come in and they land here, that's more of the physical buildings. You know, they have
Yes.
to pay the
Well,
taxes.
what I
There's
have
a
a
lot of
cousin.
different breaks they have we don't
I
have.
have a cousin who makes manhole covers. Became very successful in Las Vegas, and he says he hires Hispanics because they're the ones that are going to work. They're going to build up. So what exactly do you want? I mean, you got to either take a risk or you got to do a job you don't particularly like, but happiness comes from within, and you're doing these things for your family.
Yeah,
And so I believe in my case of being an entrepreneur, helping my wife with her business, and even doing stuff for mine. But even today, after the StreamYard, I have household chores to do because I'm a stay-at-home husband now. So I got to go to Trader Joe's. I got to go all these different things, and then I could get.
got to do.
And so it happens. It happens, and it happens. But I just for your audience, like, hey, it's okay that if you're struggling, it's okay if you're emotionally tired. It's okay if you're not feeling well, because these are just all day-to-day life activities, and you don't have to become a slave to your business. You don't have to become that. And my thing is, don't let your business overtake your family circle. Don't let that do them, because if you ruin your business can go off 3-4 years, makes a lot of money, but then the market dries up. And
Yeah,
what are you going to do? You made all that money. So the most important thing is spending time with our loved ones, and that's the message I want to give. Just spend time with them. My grandmother's on hospice. My dad's. I just I want to have no regrets in life.
yeah. That's and that and if anything was to be summed up is that don't have any regrets in life. Don't feel that you got to give up one thing for the other. You don't have to give up your family for your business. You don't
Yeah.
have to give up your business for your family, but you need to prioritize as far as that time and that level of what you devote. But the thing is that don't have regrets. Don't leave and not have spent that time you need to spend, or don't let them leave without spending that time. And then don't not seek your goals as far as starting your business or your whatever it is that you want to do and your desire. Don't forsake that, but just remember that balance is key. But just don't leave here with regrets. That's the main thing. That's the thing that I think about a lot, for myself. I don't want to take I don't want to leave and I haven't given my all, or haven't used all the talents that God has afforded me. I don't want to not have that opportunity to pour into someone that He has for me to pour into. So that's
Right.
the thing. When you said it, that summed up a whole lot of different things. Just don't leave.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, things come when they come, and I truly believe when we go through our healing journeys, everything will kind of because Jesus was a healer and he was a teacher. And I think about it like I read the Bible, I'm like, okay, 90% of this stuff probably did not happen the way it happened. And that's just years and years of research. However, I do know, but the fact that he's mentioned in other areas of the world that we're starting to discover now he did exist, he was a healer and he healed his people, but he wasn't Mr. Nice Guy all the time. He stood up to religious oppression, he stood up to Roman Empire. You got to be a strong
But he
person.
had a standard. He had a standard, and that's what a lot of people didn't realize is that he it was a standard that was
Yeah.
there. But
Mhm.
with this, because of the standard that was there, there was a boldness, but the boldness that you know that he was given, he knew. But yeah, there was a standard. Anything, in other words, anything just don't go. You just
Yeah, and what's been great for my marriage is she comes from a Hindu background, and they already embrace Jesus as a divine teacher in their religion. So everything just kind of went like this for us. I was a progressive Christian. My dad's confirmed Catholic, and my grandfather's Catholic. So I do have a Catholic side. I have a progressive Christian side. I know both, but I've learned so much from her and them that I'm just thinking Hinduism is 15, 20,000 years old. I mean, that's not even what you would consider a religion. It's just a lifestyle
right.
around God,
Yeah,
which I believe at one time it's all it was. It was just a lifestyle with God.
yeah,
Right around about 10,000 years ago, we started getting curious. What's over there? Oh, there's people over there. Take their land. And, so we've been at war ever since with ourselves. But prior to 10,000 years ago, we just wanted to live within the land. We grew our own crops and vegetables. We maybe hunted if we had to do. It's just, we didn't really start becoming goal orientated until about 10,000 years ago. And that's when prayer and meditation began. But prior to that, it was just like, hey, look where I got. I got plenty of things. I don't need to build anything. I could just find
yeah.
shelter and
But wouldn't that be a beautiful in the world?
oh
What
yeah, to go
you
back to how it was a long time ago. Yeah, now we have to have a house. You get all these pressures, and
gotta have a certain
you,
car.
you get a
Oh,
car, and that's ruining the atmosphere and all that
yeah, we
stuff.
gotta go.
So
We gotta have
you got to
entertainment.
have this and have that,
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, and I was an environmental studies major, so I kind of learned how to be one with the earth and one with the land. I've always been a nature guy. I always like going to the mountains and but yeah, I think if there's a second coming of Christ, which I do believe is more conscious, is it's teaching us how to be one with the earth. There are people out there that are trying to bring attention. Hey, if we don't change our habits now, we're not going to have an earth 100, 200 years from now that we can appreciate. It's going to be like it is. I think there'll always be life here on this planet, but I'm hoping that we come up with outside the box ideas to absorb the carbon dioxide and the methane and the
so
ozone.
the compromise is going to be the quality of life.
Yes. What
That's what.
kind type of quality of life do you want to live? Do you want to travel the world or do you just travel within your state? Because, airplanes contribute to this and
Yeah,
I mean, we have airplanes now. You think we'll have them 100 years from now? I don't know.
maybe. Well, well, because the planes it actually is not even 100 years old yet, is
No.
it?
I said the plane started with the Wrights brothers in the 1920s. So,
Yeah, yeah. But it's about 100 years.
about
You
100
right,
years,
right there now.
but will they actually be here 100 years from now? And that's the question. Is like if we start coming down on all this climate change, what is contributing to it? Maybe we do things more locally. Maybe we localize community again, right?
But that's true. But for the world so far gone, I don't know. I don't know if that would
I
ever.
have no clue. I would love for me. I'm a local
Uh,
guy. I like supporting my local shops, and I think as an individual, you could be sustainable, but it doesn't how do you get it on a city standard and how do you get it from a statewide nationwide no global wise and I don't have the confidence in other countries to really come along and I don't even have the confidence of America to do it to tell you the truth let alone other countries but I believe for myself my education taught me to try to do the right thing and the consciously thing for the earth and that's allowed me to be a better business owner because I found a niche that is sustaining.
yeah, and and that's the thing too. So having a niche that's the and having that opportunity. I hear you. I hear you.
Never mind, never mind. He left.
Okay. But anyway, I know we're going. But what can you what is in the future for you? What is some goals that you have for your business for the future? Where do what are you trying to do?
Well, my goal is probably starting next school year, sometime in August, is to reach out to. Well, actually, first one is to get my book published. That's probably my next big goal. It's being edited by my aunt, who's an
Oh,
environmental lawyer. So to get that published, and when that's published, to start getting into keynote speaking
Okay.
because I can get into colleges, I can get into high schools. I'll probably think in high schools, colleges, universities, starting the Department of Education because they hire public speakers a lot. So the goal, but of course, building, expanding my YouTube channel because that's where my speaking and my is going to be landing to them. And other than that, helping families stay together. I'm glad the divorce rate is starting to come down in America. But if you're not happy with your counselor because she switched sides and is now actually siding with your spouse, understand that coaching, we come from a place of neutrality. We're neutral. We're not going to take sides, which is what happens sometimes when you get professionals. They'll take side in the conversation, but then it's like, now I lose trust of that professional because they actually took sides. Now the goal is for professionals to be completely neutral and to understand that if it is a relationship you're trying to improve, you have your needs, or he or she has his or her needs. If you're a gay couple these days and you're listening to this, so you have different needs you have to accommodate. And it's not easy, but
No.
if you have children, you're running a business. Understand you don't have to run your business for 12 hours. If you're a CEO, you're your own boss. If you are a coach, you are your own boss. Do things for your family. Your business will always be there, and just work life balance. I'm really big on that because it's the improper work life balance that can ruin family dynamics.
Yeah. So thank you for that. That is so true. So this has been powerful because we talked about so many different things from the spirituality. We talked about, prioritizing and balancing, our businesses and family and other things. And we also talked about the beauty of entrepreneurship, which has been, which is a great thing. And I just thank you for just coming and sharing with us and being on the platform to share about this, because it is so important that when we go into the areas of, I say entrepreneurship, but anything, whether we're going into a new marriage, whether we're trying to have children, whatever it is that we're doing, understand that there's a balance, but then also just understand that it's a gift. And we give it our all, but just make sure that we're balanced around, like you said, with our health, with our money, with our our relationships with others, with our spirituality. All of those things work together, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And if you're interested in Ray of Life Me, and I like that, Ray of Life Me,
Yeah,
they
it's
can
the business name is Ray of Life Marriage Spiritual Foundation, but it's too big to put on the screen. So
oh,
just look
okay,
it up, me, Ray of Life Me, and that'll take me to my socials, rayoflifeme.com, and it takes you to my website. And yeah, so I was thinking about, well, how am I going to explain myself? Because there's so many Ray of Lives out there. Because it's like, well, the sun is a ray of
yeah,
sunshine and it gives us life. So I just put the me at the end because that can lead to mystical empowerment, could be mental empowerment,
yeah,
could be musical empowerment, could be marriage empowerment. Let the M, like M&M's, get you there.
yeah. And even with the E, empowerment, entrepreneur,
Absolutely empowerment. So the goal
all,
for me is to empower you as an entrepreneur or as a service based or action based. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You could just be an action based professional, someone that just is getting tired that just you've hit a wall and you don't know where to go. I'm your guy.
yeah. So Ray is the guy, and I thank you, Ray, for just coming and sharing with us again. And this has been I feel like it's been a spiritual conversation. It really has been a lot of the foundations we talked about, and even the interaction or integration of different things that you've learned, spiritually, and how the common denominator, what I'm saying. And I just really, that was just really interesting, and to really hear more about some of the aspects of, you meet people. I met people when I was in college who were Hindu or different things, and we've had conversations and everything. But it's just, interesting to really, see how a marriage has come together in that aspect. you know, with the different beliefs and how you all, manage, like you say, when you do this a lot. So you
Oh, I
you
do.
you do that,
Everything comes
yeah.
together in
Yep.
divine timing.
I watched. Yeah, I said, I said, I see. You do that a lot, and I said,
Yes.
that's how it is. It's just like this well-oiled machine that just works together. How I see it. So
Well, if I don't know how I would be with someone who's very conservative, religiously, and was very like fundamentalist. I mean, I don't know how that would have been, but my wife was like, okay, well, I want to start eating beef. I wanted to start trying all these things, all the things that were restricted growing up. So I
yeah,
would say she's non-practicing, but we do have a marriage of faith, and we do have a marriage that in God, everything in God's timing. We do
hmm,
the concept of God does come up sometimes and once in a while, but for the most part, we don't discuss any of that. We just live. We're happy. There was some growing pains first when she first moved in, and my dad's a completely different animal. He's just wrapped up in his ways, and we've learned to kind of just accept life for where it is, and it won't always be like this.
right,
And so I think my relationship, and the older I get, the more qualified I am in helping people in their relationships. Because of the more life experience I've had, it was our 5-year wedding anniversary 2 days ago, 3 days ago, May 25th.
happy anniversary.
And now this 10 years coming up for December 3rd, it's 10 years. So I'm in long term relationship status now. So I have a lot of experience and knowledge to give to you and to if you're listening to this. And yeah, no, it's marriage is hard. And she's actually, with my second break or awakening, she was there with me the whole time. And she's been an amazing woman for me.
That's amazing, and that's the thing. Get someone who's going to be in your corner through the good, the bad, through the challenges.
Hmm.
Marriage is not about just the glamorous wedding.
No.
It's about being in the trenches, and it's about growing together, hanging in there together, enjoying life together.
What does the New Testament say? Like, what did Jesus do? He went to the bellies of the earth and saved three whole souls. I don't know if he did that or not, but I think that's. I think it's all metaphorical that when you're living in this life, you are going to have to go through the bellies of the earth to achieve spiritual happiness.
Yeah. So spiritual happiness is what's needed, and never. And I wrote a book, and part of my book is a chapter called spiritual intelligence. So always in there, I always encourage. Spirituality is a part of who we are.
Yeah.
So when you're spiritually uh, happy, when you're spiritually sound, when you have that spiritual foundation, don't underestimate that.
No, and don't ever forget your roots.
Yeah,
Don't ever forget what I truly believe if you're born into a spiritual culture, religion, that is the one that was destined for you. Some people go off and they convert to other things, but I truly believe that when you're born into something, that was supposed to be the foundation. As you get older, you learn other things. It's not a bad thing to learn or
no,
practice something else. We're all searching for answers. We're all searching for something, and I'm concerned that people are becoming less and less aware of a holy God out there.
yeah,
And
and God is still holy.
and I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know if God is holy and as holy as I think He is, but yeah, it's a more like a high functioning social path. I tell you that.
you never say that in the Old Testament when he had Pharaoh, who taunt the people, but he's still sovereign and he's still God. But I was reading, I was like, I said, why is he allowing this to happen? But hey, he's sovereign, so
Things happen in divine timing. Moses
yeah,
was Jewish, and he goes, and that's one of my wife's favorite movies is the Moses movie, and it's like, well, the Egyptians had their own spirituality, and they had their own. I'm not saying those gods probably those deities didn't exist for them, but nothing more powerful than Yahweh. I
yeah,
tell you that, and I have some information that Yahweh is actually the son of Paramatma, the super soul. So when Jesus actually created the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, three in one, that means that the Holy Spirit was here before everything. And then that ended in creating Yahweh, and that created everything else. So there's nothing more powerful than the spirit from within you, and the spirit that's in trees, and the spirit that's in everyone. And there's one sin in the Bible where Jesus goes, if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, you will not be forgiven. It's the only sin that's unforgivable.
Wow.
Because the Holy Spirit was here before everything. That's what created everything. It's energy. You know, like stars are energy, galaxies are energy, and that's what was here before everything. And then from there came other gods and other deities. And so you have to, I would just say the Great Spirit, you have a relationship with that, you'll be fine the rest of your life.
Yeah. So that's good to tell you how powerful the Holy Spirit is.
Absolutely. But in Hindu religion, they'll call it the super soul. So they have a completely different term for it. It's pretty much the same thing. It's something that you can't describe, and it's something that comes at times. And so, I mean, different religions are being made every day. We got too many religions out there. We just got to get
Oh
people
my
to
goodness. Yes.
themselves.
When I found out that yeah, it's unbelievable.
And then there's 40,000 Christian denominations.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, and I'm like, you know what? All claiming to be better than other people. It's like, be one with yourself, one with God, one with others, and one with the earth, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot of noise out there. Like you say.
Yeah.
One, yeah.
Oh, and the less time you're on social media, the better off you'll be too.
Yeah. I tell myself that. But thank you again, Ray, for just taking the time. And this has been good. This has been a good conversation. And like I said, I enjoyed talking to you off camera, and we had a good conversation on camera. So it's just been a pleasure. And hopefully we will be able to get that book out soon, and then we come back and talk about the book. So it's being edited now. So I anticipate that we will be talking about this book real soon, right?
Well, I'll have to publish it once it's published, then I'll come back. But I don't know
Yeah.
how much money it's going to cost to publish it. There's
Yeah.
different people telling me different things. There's different ways to publish a book.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out then. When my aunt's ready for done with it, I'll probably go into it and see her edits and work on it. And then I'm gonna hit the wall and ask my wife, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah. So we can talk about that. And then again, we want the rayoflifeme.com for services, social media, ray of life. The Ray of Life Me is on all your social media.
Yeah, it's on my it's my Facebook page and Instagram. But if you want to look me up on LinkedIn, just look up Raymond Freitas. You'll find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So, but just Facebook and Instagram wanted a hashtag, so I got Ray of Life Me. LinkedIn, it's Raymond Freitas. Even if you want to be my friend, look up at Raymond Freitas. Make sure you don't get confused with another Raymond Freitas, because there's about 8 of them in my community around here. So
Well, if
it's
you
a
got any
common.
questions, you know
It's
me.
yeah,
Yeah, look
Ray of
at my
Life Me on Instagram, and you'll see a picture of me on my Facebook profile with my
yeah,
wife and my pastor ordaining us, and in a really nice, beautiful garden. Where it took place a year before the pandemic, so we got lucky.
yeah. Well, good. Thank you. And like you said, if you're interested in being even his friend and following him and seeing what he's about, you can find him on my page. If you can't, if there's too many out there, he's my friend as well. So, and I'm in his group as well. So getting some good nuggets and some good things. Oh, I didn't fill out my questionnaire, so don't kill me. But anyway,
You can fill it out
yeah,
later.
I can fill it out. Yeah, okay. But anyway, so Mr. Raymond, is it Freitas?
Freitas,
Freitas. Okay. Okay. Raymond Freitas. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I
thank
look
you.
forward to, hearing more from you and talking more and even, being in your community. So I appreciate you letting me into your community as well. And I just look forward to the journey.
Absolutely, and if you need any help yourself, let me know.
I sure will. And it's always an opportunity for networking and for fellowshipping. So I'm all for that. And same here.
Absolutely. So all the King's men and all the King's highway, just don't become old King Cole, okay?
No, we good. We good with that. All the King's men. All the King's men, where the men speak.
Yeah, don't be a Humpty Dumpty either.
Right. No, no, no. We we
You
we
don't want
gonna
to fall off a mountain
we
anytime
gonna stay.
soon.
We gonna stay powerful and in
Yeah,
control. And the men's gonna take his rightful place, and we're gonna. be, well, not me, but strong men, and we're gonna come
If
forward.
yeah, so if you're a guy and you want to resonate with another guy that's been to the bellies of the earth twice, let me know.
Yeah. Yes,
Like,
definitely. Thank you.
take care. Bye bye.
Okay, too. Bye.